This is a brief introduction into the health and safety issues involved with fiberglass or GRP flat roofing. Yeah? So we're going to start off with the health and safety equipment, if you like, or the personal protection equipment. You should have a pair of goggles with you, so I'm just going to pop these on. A dust mask. And some latex gloves. Fiberglass roof, the area of the fiberglass roof basically comprises four main products. The first two would be the resin and the top coat. The resin mixed with the third one, which is the glass, form the main composite laminate of the roof, and the top coat goes on top of that. And then the fourth product would be the catalyst, which makes the resin and the top coat turn from a liquid into a solid or causes them to cure. Yeah? So if we start with the first two, effectively you can think of these as the same. They're both basically a type of polyester resin. Polyester resins contain between 30 and 40% styrene. Two issues with polyester resins is, number one, is the styrene content causes fumes. The fumes are what you can smell when you open the tin or when the laminate is curing. It's important to remember that the styrene fumes are heavier than air, and they tend to basically fall off the roof and sink, you know. So if you're on a roof in a well-ventilated area, they're rarely a problem. If you're in a closed-in area, not so much airflow, the fumes can cause problems. So if you work on fish ponds or swimming pools, etc., or inside buildings, it's very important to pay attention to the airflow and the ventilation in the building. If you're working on a roof and the customer is in the building and they can smell the fumes, it's good advice to ask them to open the doors of the property so that air can flow through at ground level and remove the fumes from the house. Yeah? The second issue with these is they're flammable. The styrene itself is flammable. Yeah? So no naked flames, keep them away from hot places, etc. No putting cigarette ends in there, etc. Yeah? When you mix catalyst with styrene or with resin or top coat, during the curing process they generate heat, which is called an exothermic reaction. And it's possible that they can actually spontaneously combust. So good practice, if you have a small amount of resin or top coat in a container, maybe an inch, 2-3 inches in the bottom of the container, it's going to get hot when it's curing. So to make that process safe, it's good practice to have some mortar on the roof at hand. So you can pour some mortar onto the resin. During the curing process it generates heat, and it's unlikely to boil off our water and to start a fire. So good practice. Any unused resin or top coat that's been catalysed, pour 1 or 2 cupfuls of water on top of it, and the reaction of turning from a liquid to a solid will become a safe reaction because the water will stop it getting too hot, basically. Yeah? Catalyst, moving on. It's classed as an irritant, and it's also poisonous, and I think there's some associations there with carcinogenics, you know. So we don't want to consume catalyst, we don't want it on our skin, we don't want it in our eyes, etc., which is where your protective equipment comes in. Very important to store it in a safe place. You don't want children to be playing with it or drinking it, so if it's in your van or in your lock-up, your shed, etc., out of reach of children, clearly marked containers, you know. As a side issue, if you want to dispose of catalyst or resins, the best thing actually to do, because they're hazardous as they are, that if you mix them together and they turn into a solid, that solid plastic is not hazardous. So the best way to dispose of these is to actually mix them together, let them go hard, and then you can throw them away into a skip, etc. They're classed as inert waste. Yeah? Another product you will come across from GRP roofing in very cold weather will be an accelerator. Accelerator is used to mix into the top coat of the resin to make it more reactive and to make it cure faster in very cold weather. Yeah? This is called a cobalt accelerator. It's highly poisonous. It's also an irritant, etc. So you don't want to be consuming it. You don't want to be getting it on your skin. If you do get it on your skin, wash it off, you know. Treat it similar to catalyst, yeah. It's worth noting that if you accidentally mix accelerator and catalyst together, it's a very exothermic reaction and they're able to spontaneously combust or cause a fire. So keep these guys separate from each other, whether it's on the roof or in the workshop, in the van, etc. Keep them apart, clearly marked containers, etc. Yeah? Now, another product which doesn't actually comprise part of the roof, but is often a tool that we use when we're working with fiberglass, is acetone. It's a very strong solvent and it's extremely flammable. Yeah? It's also very good at dissolving oils, etc., which is why we use it to clean the tools. It's quite readily dissolves the polyester resins. It's also very good at dissolving the oils in your skin and drying the skin out. So when you're working with acetone, critical to have gloves protection, yeah. Highly flammable, no naked flames, etc. Yeah. Talking about the glass, glass itself is actually glass. Sounds a little bit obvious, but this is a piece of glass mat. If we were to pull it apart into pieces of glass, each piece of glass, which perhaps too small for you to see, if we were to break it up, would break down into 20, 25 smaller pieces of glass, which are very fine and easily able to penetrate your skin and cause long-term irritation. The other thing with glass is it's a very difficult material to dissolve, which is why lots of chemicals are kept in glass bottles because they don't affect the glass. So with that in mind, if you consume glass, you breathe it or you ingest it, it won't break down. If you're lucky, it'll pass through your body. If you're not so lucky, it'll stay in your body for a long time. So if you're going to eat a sandwich, for example, make sure you wash your hands first and you don't end up eating glass. And if you're going to cut the glass, particularly with power tools, which cause a lot of dust, it's important to wear your dust mask so that you're not breathing or ingesting glass. Yeah? The last products you use on every roof that you do will be one type or another of pre-made fiberglass edge detailing. Yeah? These are cured finished products, so the plastic is not hazardous. But they have got a high glass content, so again, if you're cutting them with power tools and causing a dust, you don't want to be breathing it. And you also, when you're handling them, they quite often have sharp edges, so you want to be wearing gloves to handle them, yeah? So, good practice. Also, to remove any of these products from your skin, you should perhaps have a hand cleaner which is suitable for resins and solvents, etc. Keep that in your van or in your house so that you can wash your hands, get yourself clean before you have to eat, etc., or do anything else, you know. Thank you very much.
Northern Building Plastics. Why collect when we can deliver?